Okay, well, good morning. As Lori said, my name's Jessica Speed. I'm coordinator of the Mat-Su Basin Salmon Habitat Partnership, and really happy to be here for day 2 of this event. And whether you were here yesterday or just joining us, thank you for taking the time to be here. As Lori sort of alluded to, like with coming out of this pandemic period, it's really, it takes a lot of energy and time to actually just show up. And in Alaska, with all these weather events and small towns we're coming from, it's just a lot. So thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging. So I wanted to share 2 important functions of the Fish Habitat Partnership are as a funding source and bringing people together. So I wanted to share some highlights from that in 2022. And I also wanted to acknowledge that we're on the traditional lands of the Otna and Dena'ina people who have been successfully stewarding these lands for thousands of years. So, Chinan. So the Mat-Su Salmon Partnership formed in 2005 to address increasing impacts on salmon habitat from human use and development in the Mat-Su Basin. So we've gone from a handful of founding organizations to over 65 very diverse organizations today, all of whom are shown on the slide. And these partners share, these partners share a common vision for thriving salmon, healthy habitats, and vibrant communities coexisting in the Mat-Su. We are also part of a broader national network of 20 fish habitat partnerships across the country. There's 4 in Alaska, and Karen Linnell is a National Fish Habitat Partnership board member in Alaska, and also Ted Eischeid with the Mat-Su Borough is on that national board. So great to have that representation nationally as well. So our work's guided by a strategic action plan. It identifies 12 primary potential threats to salmon habitat in the Mat-Su Basin and conservation strategies to address them. And to help meet those goals in the plan, since 2006, over 100 salmon habitat-related projects have been funded with $4 million through the National Fish Habitat Partnership Program. In 2022, $35,000 funded 6 Mat-Su projects, and these are in areas of science, conservation, restoration, and coordination and education. So you all do amazing work. Your projects are strategic, collaborative, systematic, and overall just so well done. And some of these projects we're going to hear about, either projects and or programs we're going to hear about later today, like the number 4, the Tyonek Tribal Conservation District 1, and Mat-Su Borough project number 2. So I wanted to flag for you that we are going to have a request for proposals coming out really soon for FY24 National Fish Habitat Partnership funds. So please anticipate hearing about that announcement in early to mid-December, and it will close somewhere around mid-February. And in terms of other changes to flag for you, the 1-to-1 non-federal match is very likely to be a requirement this year at the project level. So I know that's going to be a challenge for some of you. Tribes are exempt from that requirement. So there may be some fairly big changes brought about with this, the new ACE Act, the America's Conservation Enhancement Act at the national level that's guiding this program. So we'll just work together and do the best that we can and look for opportunities perhaps with tribes, and maybe there's other opportunities we weren't looking to before that we may need to be doing now. So just stay in touch on that, and we'll do the best that we can to work together on that. And the other thing I wanted to note on that for you is that we also provide letters of support in general for projects. So there's other ways the partnerships can support you. So get in touch. And also FY23 projects have not been, the funding amounts haven't been confirmed for those yet. So stay tuned on that. Hopefully we'll have an update for you in December. So changing gears, one of the other functions or roles that the partnership plays is bringing people together, like this event, to information share, collaborate, and educate. And in 2022, the Deshka River received particular focused attention from the partnership with a series of education outreach activities, a variety packed. And we went into this in depth yesterday, but for anybody who wasn't in attendance, the partnership has been engaged in a year-long effort to help advance scientific knowledge to tangible conservation outcomes focused on cold water refugia that Sue Mauger and team have identified in the Deshka River and Big Lake basins. So we've been convening over 20 partners and 8 separate conversations, large groups and individual conversations to learn more about the potential tools and pathways to keep these areas intact and keeping the Deshka as a salmon stronghold in a warming climate. So we host annual site tours, and those are tailored to community leaders. They're a way to share the work of the partnership and our partners and why it matters, and just get out on the land together. So this year, the spotlight was on the Deshka River, and Matsu, one of Matsu's top salmon producers with a long-standing important human connection, and among the warmest salmon systems in the in the Matsu. And there's also a lot of interdisciplinary study, concentrated study in this area around stream temperature, juvenile salmon studies, in-stream flow, and of course, including that identified cold water refugia. So that's information we want community leaders to be aware of its importance, and so they can help make decisions that are keeping Matsu watersheds intact, thriving, and the human communities that depend on them thriving as well. So the greatest benefit can be for these site tours is actually just getting people out on the land. And one of the great things about this year's tour is we actually got people out in boats, up the river, and I think a lot of people had actually never done that. So that in of itself is is really helpful. In October, the National Fish Habitat Partnership recognized the Deshka River as one of its top 10 national waters to watch. So that recognition was for our partnership's collaborative and proactive efforts to conserve salmon in this important river. There are also 2 other Alaska waters that were nominated. So Susitna River was nominated by the Pacific Lamprey Conservation Initiative, and also there was a Fish Passage project nominated in and included in the top 10 in Gustavus in Southeast Alaska. In June, we held our first annual Plants for Salmon Riparian Planting Day at the J. Nolfi Fish Creek Park in Big Lake. And in total, we had 34 people, planted over 100 trees, shrubs, and herbaceous plants along the shorelines of this area. And one of the great things is a majority of the attendees were local Matsu residents, including 11 kids. We had formal education presentations, we had hot dogs, and everyone just seemed really happy and appreciative to be there. And one of the things that I think we did well and that made it so successful is we worked closely with the Big Lake Community Council. So we let them, we made a presentation and checked in and asked for feedback, and they encouraged us to apply for funding. So anyway, and some of their council members volunteered and attended, and one of them was barbecuing hot dogs, and it was great. So it was, we hope this will be a first annual to complement our other sort of core annual outreach events. Like this one's tailored to practitioners. the site tour is more for community leaders, and this is more of a community-driven, general public, community-oriented event. So a big shout out to Michael Mazzacavallo for the initial vision and a lot of the work that went into making it happen. So it wouldn't have happened without Michael. And also a huge shout out to Theo Garcia and staff at Knik Tribe, who supplied, I think, at least 50 of the 100 plants. So anyway, it was a great collaboration. And let us know if you'd like to be involved or contribute next year. So those are a few highlights. It looks like there's a little bit more time to highlight a few other things for you. One of the things I wanted to just highlight for you is that, as was a couple things, but one is that it's an exchange, right? This partnership. How do we make it work for you? How do you contribute to the partnership? And certainly yesterday we saw it was amazing. Seeing you all work in those small groups was incredible, and I was just reminded of, wow, there's a lot of brain power, over 50 people digging in on some of these questions. So you have so much to offer this partnership, and it is that exchange. So, so you're, just by being here, you're giving a lot. There are other needs and there are other ways to get involved. So Lori alluded to this, that we have a steering committee, and there are 2 seats that are going to come up in January. So we have a tribal seat and an at-large seat. So please consider applying, consider serving on the partnership steering committee. They're 2-year terms. Send a letter of interest, and you can contact me if you're interested. There's also 2 Science and Data Committee co-chair positions that are going to come open in January. And of course, there's other committees like the Symposium and Outreach as well. And so what are some things that the partnership can do for you? We'll talk about it in the infrastructure funding session, or hopefully it will come up, but just flagging, we've got the strategic plan. Does your project fit? Flag that for your infrastructure funding, that it's a region-wide plan. And also the partnership offers letters of support. So give the steering committee at least 2 weeks, but that is something that we can provide you. Do you have ideas? Some of these new initiatives are because of partner ideas and partner energy. So if you have an idea, particularly if you have some energy to move it forward, get in touch. So those are my updates, and yeah, it's a pleasure, and it's such a pleasure to be here with you in person today. So thanks, everyone. Let's have a great day. So I am going to invite up Kevin Toothaker and Fran Seeger-Boss. Kevin's with Knik Tribe, and Fran is with Knik Tribe and Chickaloon Village Traditional Council. And they're going to talk about traditional Dena'ina use of the Deshka River. And I will just say, too, that this came about, that Kevin and Fran presented something similar, or maybe the exact, I'm not sure, presentation on our site tour. And it was really incredible. So big thanks to Kevin and Fran for bringing this presentation to the symposium.